Today's topic, how to overcome depression. And a short disclaimer before I jump right into the topic. I am not a doctor, and if you are severely depressed, you should not be ashamed of searching for professional help. I am also not against medication, at least when it leads to relief in the short term. However, I believe, and I know from my own experience and also from coaching clients, that you can overcome your depression by activating a certain power within you. And in this episode, I want to show you how I've done it, how I've taught it to Skype coaching clients, and how you can do it too. Because you deserve a better life. You don't deserve to be trapped in a feeling of hopelessness, in low energy, self-hate, self-harming thoughts. And believe me, I've been there. And if you have a look at the presentation page of my Vibration Rocket program, which is a meditation program that is designed to improve your mood and your outlook on life. On this page, I share the story of how I was standing on the balcony of a very, very high building. So believe me when I say I've been there. I suffered from depression for years, and here's how I got out of it. The first thing you absolutely have to do, and that's also the hardest thing to do, is to realize that you are not your depression. When we have a certain condition, we often identify with our condition, and this leads us down a very dark path. For example, I've been born with a congenital heart defect, and I had several heart surgeries in my life. And I always identified with my condition. I always said, I can't do this because of my heart condition. I can't do that because of my heart condition. I'm not able to do this because of my heart condition. And in the end, because I believed it, I received it, and then I couldn't do these things. But when I finally got over this idea that I am my condition, that my condition defines me, once I no longer allowed my condition to define myself, that's when my life changed completely. Because then suddenly I realized that I can do these things. And the same happened to me when I was depressed. I identified with my depression. When somebody asked me, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm depressed. It's who I am, but it's not who you are. That's the most important thing to realize. Your depression might be a condition right now, but just because you have it right now doesn't mean that you can't change it in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or even if it takes you 1 or 2 years. You can in fact change it. You might feel depressed right now. You might feel this emotion, but you are not depressed. I hate it when people say that. And when they label themselves and others with this term, you are depressed. No, you think depressive thoughts. You feel depressive emotions, but you are not the depression. It's not who you are. You have to realize that you are not your depression. It's just something that you feel right now. And if you feel something right now, then you can change your emotions. And in this episode, I will show you how you can change your emotions. And the first step towards changing your thoughts and emotions is to take responsibility for your thoughts and emotions. Yes, you can in fact influence your thoughts and emotions. We've been conditioned to believe that our thoughts and emotions are the result of external circumstances, when in reality, we can create thoughts and we can create emotions, which then changes our reality. It's basically the completely opposite way of how you've been taught all your life. And that's also why it's completely normal right now, especially when you are in this depressed mood, that your ego now rebels against everything I say. Your ego wants to say, oh, shut up, Sebastian, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm depressed. I'm so depressed. You don't know anything. Yes, it's okay if you want to curse me. It's okay if you want to hate me. But please stick around to the very end. I want you to listen to all the points. This is so, so important because these are the things that helped me to get out of my depression, and I know I can help you too with it. And then take responsibility for your thoughts and emotions. Instead of saying, I'm depressed, I can't feel happy. It's impossible for me to feel happy because I'm depressed. And I used to do that when I think back to this time when my parents said, hey, just enjoy something, do something. And I was so in this mood of I am the depression that I just said, no, I'm depressed. I can't enjoy myself. I can't do that. And when I was actually smiling, I tried to stop myself from smiling because it would go against the way I conditioned my mind to think. It would go against my depression, which had become my identity. And maybe you do the same. And that's why it's so important to take responsibility for your thoughts and emotions. And you might say now, yeah, Sebastian, come on, I don't believe you. I can't change my thoughts. Really? Okay. Let's try it. Come on. Let's give it a shot. Let's say all the time right now, and that's something that I said to myself over and over again when I was depressed, because I always looked in the mirror and I saw a monster with all my scars. I always said, I hate myself. I hate myself. God, I hate myself so much. And now try this. Just say, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. Whenever you have this negative thought, immediately say, stop, change, and then replace it with a positive thought. And in the beginning, this will feel so weird and you will feel like giving up and you want to say, oh, come on, forget about it. I'm so comfortable. And that's because you are addicted to these negative emotions. When we feel a certain way for a very long time, then it has become a habit, and it takes effort to break a habit and to replace it with a habit that's actually positive for you. And in the same way, it's also true with your emotions. You can feel happy right now. Nothing is stopping you. Make this little exercise with me right now. Come on, do it. I know you can do it. Imagine yourself being in your dream life, your absolute dream life. And that's something different for everyone. Maybe you want a house at the beach. Maybe you want to live in a big mansion. Maybe you want to be in a fulfilling relationship. Imagine it, visualize it, and then allow yourself to experience these emotions. Don't block it right now. I know your ego wants to block it. Your ego wants to say, no, I can't feel like that. I will never have this life. I'm depressed. I've been there. I know how it feels. But try to change your emotional state right now. Just try it a little bit. And the first time you will do it, it will feel very weird. The second time, it will feel even weirder. The third time, a little bit less weird. And then you do it again and again and again. And the more you repeat it, the more success you will have. And then meditate every day to raise your vibration. One book that I can highly recommend is from Dr. Joe Dispenza, You Are the Placebo. And in this book, he describes how a group of people who were diagnosed with clinical depression meditated. And during their meditation, they always visualized the future that they want to have. And they were always feeling the emotions that they would feel if they had this future. And after a couple of weeks, their depression was healed. And no, it wasn't some kind of spiritual mumbo jumbo. They did actual brain scans. And the areas of their brains where you could see before that they were depressed had changed. So it can lead to physical changes. And if you want to find an easy way to raise your vibration and to improve your mood, then you can click on the link in the description and find out more about my Vibration Rocket program. And the Vibration Rocket program is a meditation, a guided meditation, in which I guide you to a higher vibration, which will then help you to improve your mood. And you get a bunch of bonuses if you decide to invest in it. And one of the bonuses is a trauma transformation audio course, in which I share all kinds of different techniques that help you to overcome your trauma. And more often than not, depression is also closely linked to trauma. That's at least how it was for me and how it is for a lot of my coaching clients. And if you want to find out more about this meditation program, the link is in the description. And then learn to be grateful for small things. Even if you say right now, I'm not grateful to be alive, I've been there. There was a time in my life when I wanted to die, when I actually regretted it, and I really mean that, regretted it, that my parents didn't get an abortion, and I know how brutal that sounds. But I've been there, and I know that you can get out of it. And if you just start to be a little bit more grateful for having a roof over your head, grateful for having water, grateful for having all these things that we in the Western world take for granted, or watch a documentary about the refugees in Greece and see how they live. And then again ask yourself, do I have any reason to be depressed? However, maybe you are in such a deep depression that you can't find anything to be grateful for. Do it anyway. Practice, practice, practice. At some point, your emotional state will catch up. And talk to someone who uplifts you. And avoid talking to people who confirm you in your addiction. And this is very tricky because when we are depressed, when we are addicted to these negative emotions, it has become our identity. And then we want to spend time with people who confirm our identity. So what do? You tell your friend about how depressed you are. And your friend says, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel for you. And this then gives you the affection and the false love. It's not real love. It's just feeling sorry for you. But your mind recognizes it as love because your mind is so conditioned to believe that your depression is your identity. And that's the vicious cycle you have to break. I promise you, if you book a Skype coaching session with me, I will not allow you to stay in this addiction. I will not allow you to reaffirm to yourself that you are in fact your depression. I will not tell you what you want to hear. And in the beginning of our Skype coaching session, in case you want to work with me, you will hate me for it. In the same way as you would hate a friend who tells you, it's okay, come on, forget about the depression, let's talk about something else. And then you would say, but I'm depressed, I need somebody who confirms it to me. And I know that's very painful to realize that you've been in this vicious cycle, and that by trying to get sympathy from other people, making other people feel sorry for you, this only makes your depression worse and worse and worse, because it keeps you in this vicious cycle. But on a very addicted level, it feels so good. And that's the cycle you have to break. And then practice self-love. I know you want to tear and feather me right now when I'm talking about self-love, but it's so important. And one of the books I can recommend to you is from Kamal Ravikant, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. In this book, he describes how he fell into a really deep depression after he went broke, his company went downhill, he lost everything, and he couldn't get out of bed anymore. And all he did was every day to say to himself over and over again, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And in the beginning it feels weird, but the more you do it, the more of an impact it will have on your life. And Dr. Bruce Lipton actually discovered that the only two ways to change your personality in a long-lasting way is with hypnosis and repetition. And we already discovered hypnosis when we talked about meditation, but that's also something I want to discuss again in the last 2 points of this episode. But when it comes to repetition, nothing easier than that. You just have to get past your ego and actually do it. Because what often happens when we are depressed is we can say, I love myself all day long, but we don't do it because we identify with our depression. And we say, no, then I would change. No, then I wouldn't get sympathy anymore. Oh, then nobody would feel sorry for me anymore. No, I can't say that. Break this cycle. And if you want me to help you with it, I'm here for you. I'm happy to coach you. But if you want to do it alone, try everything to break this vicious cycle. And then find meaning and set yourself goals that are in alignment with your vision. I believe that a lot of people in our society are depressed because they don't follow their true calling. They don't do what they really want to do and what they are here for to do. I mean, sorry if I'm so direct now, but if all you do every day is to fill out Excel sheets that have no meaning for you, then it's no wonder why you feel depressed. And one of the books that helped me a lot to find my own purpose and to create meaning for myself in life was Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl. And this book is written by a man who was a prisoner in Auschwitz in a concentration camp. And especially for me as a German, this was a very hard book to read, but it opened my eyes to the concept of finding meaning. And that finding meaning is not really about searching it somewhere, it's about creating meaning for yourself. And once you've created meaning for yourself, treat yourself like a person you love, even if you hate yourself right now. The small decisions you make every day add up. Healthy food instead of junk food. Exercise instead of using your depression as an excuse to binge watch Netflix. These little choices add up over time. And if you make one choice more for yourself and against your depression every day, in a couple of weeks, the effect can be tremendous. And tell yourself a new story of your life. And no, I won't sing Story of My Life from One Direction, even though right now you should also go in one direction, in a new direction. And that's why I invite you to ask yourself, who do you want to be? Where do you want to live? How would you live if you had no depression? And before you say now, yeah, but Sebastian, I have depression, I am my depression, I'm so depressed, stop yourself right there. Stop yourself right there and say, change, no more. Focus on your future that you want to create. Right now, it might seem so unrealistic to create this future. I mean, when I was bedridden and completely sick, I imagined myself living in an amazing apartment. And by the way, I was completely broke. And I imagined myself making thousands of dollars every month. I imagined myself having multiple thriving businesses. I imagined myself having hundreds of thousands of dollars in my bank account. And back then I could barely afford a flight back to Germany. And now I'm living this life. Why? Because I didn't give up. And back then I was so depressed, so hopeless, and so sick. And if I can do it, then you can do it too. I know it. So replace the old I'm depressed story and I have depression story with a new story. Write it all down. How do you want your life to look like? And then practice feeling this new story. Remember, hypnosis and repetition. These are the two things that help you to create a new personality, and by doing that, to create a new life. So create these emotions. I know you can do it because I've done it. I've coached so many people in Skype coaching sessions who were able to do it. For some people, it takes longer than for others, but eventually you will get there if you just don't give up. So ask yourself, what would it feel like to live my dream life? What would it feel like to live an amazing life with meaning? And again, before your ego can sabotage everything and say, no, but I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy. I will never be happy. Stop yourself there and try to create that emotion. And yes, you can create these emotions out of thin air. Like I said before, we are raised with this false belief that our emotions are just the result of an external event in our reality. What nobody told you is that by creating this emotion yourself, you can change your reality. You just have to give yourself the permission to do it. And if you enjoyed watching this video, please send out some love to the YouTube universe by giving this video a big thumbs up. And I would also appreciate it if you would leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think about my video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to click on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video for you.